नमस्ते प्रणाम गीता ध्यान ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। O Bhagavad Gita, with which Lord Narayana himself gave enlightenment to Arjuna, the ancient sage Vyasa included it in the Mahabharata. O Goddess, showerer of the nectar-like knowledge of non-dualism contained in your 18 chapters. O my affectionate mother, the destroyer of rebirth, I meditate upon thee. Krishna Vandana. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Son of Vasudeva, the slayer of Kansa and Chanur, extreme delight for Mother Devaki, O Lord Krishna, the supreme teacher of the universe, my salutations to you. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 7th Adhyaya, the Dnyaan Vidyaan Yoga, and today is Shloka 27, the 27th verse we will be reading today. And let us recapture what Sri Krishna told us in the previous reading of 26th verse, where Sri Krishna told us a great truth and his observation about what is happening in this world. Like Sri Krishna said, Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjuna bhavishyani cha bhūtāni Mam tu ved na kaśchan. Sri Krishna said, Arjuna, I know about all the beings. I know the entire past. I know their present. I know their future. Veda aham, I know. Samatitani, the entire past, not only just past is 1 or 2 years back or 50 years back or 100 years back. No, the entire past. Sama atita. I know the entire past of all the beings. Vartamanani cha. And also their present. What is happening with these beings. And bhavishyani cha. Bhūtāni. All the beings. I know their entire past, their present, their future. But Sri Krishna has got one regret. He says, Mam tu veda na kaśchan. But nobody knows me. I know everything about every being. What happened from the very first birth. The entire past I know. I know what is happening with them, what they are doing. I know everything, and I also know what is going to be their future like. Who is going to be liberated? Who is going to again get into this cycle of life and death? I know everything. But Mam tu veda na kaśchan. But no one knows about me. Nobody makes an effort. Everybody is enjoying in their so-called worldly life. That these beings, they don't want to know me, so they can't know me. Those who want to know me, yes, they certainly come to me. And in this 27th shloka, what Sri Krishna is going to tell us? He is going to tell us about these people again, under the delusion of Maya, delusion of this complex of sattva, rajas, tamas that the Lord himself has created to create this spell of illusion, to get all these beings deluded, and therefore they cannot know anything about the Lord. But the Lord knows everything about them. Sri Krishna says, and he also explains why this is happening, why they have got deluded. Ichchhā-dveṣa-samutthena dvandva-mohena bhārata sarva-bhūtāni sammohaṁ sarge yānti parantapa. Now in this shloka also, just see, Sri Krishna is referring to Arjuna. He has addressed him as Bharat. In the first line, he has addressed him as Bharata. He has addressed him as Bharata, and in the second line of the shlok, he again addresses him as parantapa. There is a reason again for that. This is the beauty of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, where the addressing of each other is so apt. It has got some kind of a hidden meaning which is going to be connected with the next verses that are going to appear, that are going to happen, that are going to be taught in the Bhagavad Gita. Now here Sri Krishna says, ichchhā-dveṣa-samutthena dvandva-mohena bhārata. Ichchhā-dveṣa. Ichchhā is desire. Dveṣa is our aversion. Now these two pairs of opposites, what is happening is, because of these two pairs of opposites, ichchhā-dveṣa-samutthena. Samutthena is the arisen from this pair of opposites of desire and aversion. Dvandva-mohena bhārata. That by this delusion of pairs of opposites, O Bharata, O best among the dwellers of this land of Bharat, with deluded by the pairs of opposites, created by this pair of opposite of ichchhā and dveṣa, the desire and aversion. Sarva-bhūtāni sammohaṁ sarge yānti parantapa. O parantapa, O scorcher of the foes, O destroyer of the enemies. All the beings, they are subjected, they get delusioned. Sarva-bhūtāni sammohaṁ sarge. Sarge is at birth. At birth itself, the moment beings take birth, they are deluded, they get influenced by the pairs of opposites, which coming under the spell of the desire and aversion. That is why the beings, the moment they are born, they get entrapped in this web of delusion. They get so much influence right from the birth. They are influenced by the pairs of opposites. Right from the birth, they are influenced by the desire and aversion. Desire of having something. Aversion, not liking things, fearing the things, afraid of the things, running away from the things. So you see the paradox. Right from the birth, Sri Krishna says, sarge yānti. Right from the birth, the beings, they get delusioned, coming under the spell of ichchhā and dveṣa, coming under the spell of desire. On the one hand, there is a desire to have this, like this, possess this. And at the same time, there is also the opposite of desire, the aversion. Not liking this, not want to have this, being afraid of this. These beings, they are deluded right from the birth. And they get trapped in this web of illusion, of Maya, of the Yoga Maya created by the Lord. By the delusion of the pairs of opposites rising from Desire and aversion. Now see how smartly, how intelligently Sri Krishna has used these words. The pairs of opposites arising out of the pairs of opposites. Desire and aversion. Liking for something, disliking for something, that itself is a pair of opposite. Now, in ordinary course of life, when beings get influenced, they come under the spell of pairs of opposites, which are the result of, again, the pair of opposite of the desire and aversion. By the delusion of pairs of opposites arising from desire and aversion, O Bharata, sarva-bhūtāni, all beings, sammohaṁ, are subject to illusion. They come under delusion. Sarge yānti. It happens right at the time of birth. O parantapa, O scorcher of the foes. So this coming under the spell of pairs of opposites right from the birth, Sri Krishna says. Even taking birth by the jivas, that also starts as a pair of opposites. The moment we take birth, the moment the life begins, we are approaching towards death, isn't it? So our existence in this life itself, it starts as pair of opposites. We take birth only waiting for the death. Whatever time spent between this birth and death, the so-called life, that is what we are supposed to live. And live how? Ordinarily, we should be living focusing on our source, on our origin, on the Chidbhavananda. But we get trapped in this delusion created by this illusion of the Lord. We get influenced by these pairs of opposites. And we forget the Lord. We start thinking this Prakriti, the creation, which is just a magic created by the Lord. This Prakriti, the creation, the universe, to be the real thing. And we forget Lord. And that's why Sri Krishna told us in the previous Shloka that nobody knows me, nobody makes an effort to know me. He told us that Mam tu veda na kaschan. Although I know everything about everyone, people don't know about me because they have come under this spell of the Maya, of the Yoga Maya. Among the pairs of opposites, the foremost and the most lasting is the one pertaining to life and death, just like as we saw. Where life is, its counterpart, death should necessarily be. There cannot be life without death. We cannot say, I want to only take birth, but I don't want to die. No one can say that. No living form which has come into existence. Why about living form? Even the non-living forms, whichever gets composed by the pancha-mahabhūta, the five cosmic elements, the earth, water, fire, air, space, whichever gets composed of these, has to come into existence and has to get destroyed. That is the law of the nature. That is the cycle that the Lord has created. Where life is, its counterpart, death should necessarily be. The existence of the one to the exclusion of the other is impossible. There cannot be life without death. There cannot be death without life. They both go hand in hand. And we, under the influence of desire and aversion, we desire the life, but we want to run away from the death. See the paradox. We want to enjoy the life, but we are afraid of death. We don't even want to think about the death. But we want to enjoy each and every moment of life. Not realizing that each and every moment of life being spent is taking us a step closer towards death. So that is the influence of the pairs of opposites that deludes us. From birth onwards, a being proceeds towards death. The interval between the two is what is called as life, which is as impermanent as a bubble on the water. The life is as impermanent. There may be some lives, they live 100 plus years. There may be some lives, they just a few hours. So, like a bubble of water. Some bubbles, they may just come into effect and burst. Some bubbles may stay a bit longer. Now in this time scale of infinity, what is a second and what is a millennium? They are all the same. So like the bubbles of water, our lives, the lives of the living beings, they also come and go. Death may at any moment swoop and swallow up the embodied. At any time it can happen. It can happen this moment, it can happen the next moment. Absolutely uncertain. And in this phase of sort of uncertainty of when death is going to catch hold of me, we are trying to avert our nearness to death. We are trying to ignore, we are trying to hide that reality. And we get involved in so many things in the world. We get involved with me and mine. We get involved with lust and greed. What for? Of the inseparable two, life and death, the desire for the life and aversion for the death manifest themselves from birth onwards. And therefore Sri Krishna says, right at the time of birth, the beings, they get deluded. They get deluded by these pairs of opposites. They have come to life, but they don't realize this is a short span. This time duration between life and death has been provided to get to know what is the ultimate reality, to get to know what lies ahead for us. This is the time frame which is an opportunity given by the Lord to seek liberation. But instead, we get trapped in this net of pairs of opposites. The pair of opposites pertaining to pleasure and pain comes next. So first pair of opposite as a result of the life and death is a pair of opposite, and we come into existence having taken birth. That is our first hand association with the pairs of opposites, taking a birth. Then having taken birth, proceeding towards death, we come under the spell of the second pairs of opposites, that is desire and aversion. We desire the life, but we don't want death. We want all the good things in life, but we are scared of the bad things. We want joys. We don't want sorrows. So that category, the pleasure and pain, that is also a part of, that is another pair that comes next after birth. That is another pair of opposites that the beings have to face. Pleasure and pain, joy and sorrow, happiness, unhappiness, success and failure, all these things they have to face. Throughout life, from life till death, they have to keep on facing the pairs of opposites, coming under this spell of the pair of opposite of desire, ichchhā, and aversion, dvesha. From birth onwards, sense pleasures are always crowned with pain. Any kind of sense pleasure, whether it is a pleasure of eating some sweet meat, a pleasure of drinking some beautiful concoction, or any kind of pleasure to enjoy the bodily, to kind of satisfy the bodily hunger and thirst. All those pleasures, in the end, they end up with pain. It is not that we will keep on getting pleasures all the time. No, not a single pleasure remains forever. All the pleasures, they end up in pain. But we fools, we are so much under the spell. We are so much under the spell of these pairs of opposites that in spite of knowing it is going to bring pain to us, we are all the time, we are chasing pleasure. It is an illusion to seek sense pleasure to the exclusion of pain. Yes, none of our senses, they can give permanent pleasure. These are all entrapments. These are all temptations, and we get drawn towards those sense objects. We try to enjoy those sense objects using the sense organs by the temptations created by the senses, and that is the end of it. No more pleasure then. It is only pain and sorrow and misery and whatnot. Among the pairs of opposites, the desire for one and aversion for the other are the foes of seekers of knowledge and devotion. Seekers of knowledge and devotion, they won't even go after any pleasure. Forget about enjoying any sense pleasures. For them, reaching the lotus feet of the Lord is only the desire. And that desire has no aversion. That desire has no opposite. That is the only desire which stands on its own, without any opposite to be paired with. These foes have to be conquered. These foes of allurement, these foes of temptation, of getting trapped by the desires and aversions. These foes, the temptations of getting driven by seeking pleasure and ending up in pain. These are the foes which should be avoided. And Sri Krishna, through this shloka, has actually told us that beings, when they take birth, what they should be doing for. They should be going for the knowledge of reality, but that doesn't happen. And Sri Krishna says they get tempted, they get deluded by the influence of pairs of opposites created by the desire and dislike. So that was Sri Krishna's teaching to us in this Jnana Vidyana Yoga, and taking us a step forward towards realization, towards the ultimate realization, towards the actual experience of being one with the Lord. So that is our 27th shloka of the Jnana Vidyana Yoga, the 7th adhyaya of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Sri Ramakrishna. Jai Thakur. Jai Ma. Jai Swamiji.